Hey, it's Kai. This video is a collaboration with the channel Titanic. From children who have the same birthmarks as their parents, to people with extra appendages and more, here are 20 of the most unique human physical traits. Number 20, Hypertrichosis, more commonly known as werewolf syndrome. It's not what science fiction or Hollywood depicts it to be. Rather, it's a disorder that is characterized by excessive body hair. Typically, the entire body, with the exception of the palms of the hands and the soles of the feet, are covered in dense hair, which can resemble fur. There are some cases hair growth can be localized to a specific part of the body, such as elbows, back, or ears. Congenital hypertrichosis may be inherited and passed down from family members. It seems to be caused by the genes that stimulate hair growth becoming abnormally active. Number 19, genetic birthmark. On its own, the idea of a birthmark doesn't seem that unique. There are a lot of people who have one or two or more in different forms and on different parts of their body. But what might surprise you is that some birthmarks can be genetically inherited, which was the case with this mother and child. The mother had a birthmark in her hair known as polydactyly, which basically means that she has lost the coloring via melanin in a certain part of her body, in this case, the base of her head. So imagine her surprise when her child not only had polydactyly, but had it in the exact same spot. That's pretty unique, wouldn't you say? Number 18, Sectoral Heterochromia. Your eyes are a very important part of your body. After all, vision is one of the most crucial of the senses. But what many people like to focus on is the color of said eyes. Most people know that your eye color is most times inherited from your parents in terms of dominant or recessive genes. But sometimes, your body can produce an imbalance of the chemicals that color your eyes and give you various mutations as a result. Such as this one right here, known as Sectoral Heterochromia, where excess or lack of melanin in the eye led to this person having two colors in the single iris. You may also know people who have a different color iris between both eyes. This is a more basic form of heterochromia iridis. Number 17, Polydactyly. This one kind of sounds like the dinosaur, the pterodactyl, but don't get it twisted. It's definitely not even close to the same. When you hear the notion that someone has extra fingers and toes, it's oftentimes a lot more subtle than you may think, such as this man who was born with 6 fingers and 6 toes. This is known as polydactyly. While some may think this is a cool mutation, it does come with some costs, including the thumbs not being fully formed. Plus, in the case of this man at least, he passed on his condition to his kids, so that's not something that is easily talked about. Hey, real quick, if you're new to the channel, welcome. Give this video a like and hit that subscribe button for more videos like these. Number 16, mirror hand syndrome. Ulnar dimelia, also known as mirror hand syndrome, is a congenital deformity where the thumb is absent and the ulna is duplicated, and there are 7 or 8 fingers in the hand. It is so rare that less than 100 cases have been reported in the medical literature, which, if I'm being honest here, is probably for the best, due to the various looks and feelings the person will have when realizing their condition. But hey, they can't help it. Number 15, thumb inheritance. One of the most interesting things about genetics is that you don't exactly know what you're going to get from your parents. It could be something simple like height, hair color, brain wiring, etc. But for this person, they got something a bit more unique, because when you look at their hands, you can see that they have one thumb from each parent, as in they inherited the look and length of their parents' thumbs. That's not just rare, that's almost unheard of, because of how your hands and feet are supposed to mirror each other, but in this case, not so much. Also, I must note that all of these conditions are things people are just born with and have no say in, so everyone, please be kind to people who are different. Being different is cool, all right? Number 14, Anachia and Hyponychium. Look at your hands right now. What do you see? Hopefully, you're seeing that you have fingernails upon your fingers. Fingernails are one of those elements of your body that you only think about occasionally, unless you're like me and you like to get your nails done. But what if I told you there are people who don't have all their fingernails, or don't have them at all? This is known as Anachia, being born without any fingernails or toenails, and Hyponychium, partial loss of fingernails or toenails, or only partial growth. It's certainly an odd condition, but take heart in the fact that if you do have this condition, it's not going to harm you in any major ways, outside of explaining constantly why you don't have any nails. My mom's pinky toenail is so small she paints her skin to make it look larger. She's gonna kill me if she watches this. Number 13, Spocks Ear. Ears are an important part of your body, but if you look at the various ears of people, you'll notice that they come in all sorts of shapes and sizes, within reason. But for some people, with the condition known as Stall's ear, they will find their ears taking on a more pointed demeanor, to the extent that the condition is referred to as having elf ears, or for those of you who are Star Trek fans, Spock's ears. There are some people who desire to have this shape of ear and will go through modifications in order to obtain this particular look. Hey, be yourself, whatever floats your boat. Oh, and don't fear, those who have this condition do indeed live long and prosper. Number 12, Amniotic band syndrome. Sadly, hand deformities are something that can happen in life in a variety of ways, but amniotic band syndrome is a condition that makes it so they're born with a hand or foot that didn't properly grow, to the extent that only some of their fingers or toes are normal looking. In the case of this person, you can see how their middle fingers are massively shorter and more deformed than they should be, though apparently, the man with said hand was a former wrestler, showing he didn't let his quirk hold him back. Number 11, Symbrachydactyly. Not only is that fun to say, it's another kind of hand deformation that can also happen to a person at birth, and it's known as Symbrachydactyly. This is where babies are born with an underdeveloped hand, which causes them to have small or missing fingers. The person might be missing their thumb, and thus their index finger was pretty much grown to look like it, giving them a rather alien look. There are various ways to treat this, including having surgery or undergoing certain therapies to make sure the person can use their hand to function as a regular hand in most rights. Number 10, eye scar. When you hear that someone has a scar on their eye, you're likely thinking of the skin around the eye. But in the case of some people, they have a scar literally on their eye. This is known as macular pucker. Macular pucker is a scar tissue that formed in the eye's macula, which is located in the retina. This is where the problem comes in, because while it's absolutely interesting to look at and wonder how it got there, that part of the eye is what helps your vision be clear. As such, people with this condition have blurred vision or even distorted vision, which is not helpful when you're trying to see things clearly, especially trying to read. Number 9, One-sided freckles. Freckles come in all shapes, sizes, and numerations. But believe it or not, there are some people who only have freckles on one side of their body. On an episode of The Doctors, one doctor explained why this happens. It's a very specific type of birthmark, which started when you were an embryo, dermatologist Dr. Sonia Batra explained. And the pigment cells in your neural crest, some of them actually developed a mutation or a change, and as the cells migrated over, it actually affects only half of the body. That's why there's a sharp cutoff. I love freckles. Number 8, Symmetrical hair whorls. Hair whorls are a patch of hair that grows in a circular clockwise or counterclockwise direction. They can be found on many people all over the world. But in the case of one boy, he not only has 2 hair whorls, but he also has them in a perfectly symmetrical way to the extent that they even grow hair in the opposite direction from one another, like a truly mirrored thing. This apparently lets the kid grow a natural mohawk. Hair whorls can also appear on animals. Number 7, Vitiligo. This is the story of a girl who had quite a rude awakening, literally, because she woke up one day to find that some of her eyelashes went from brown to white, and she didn't know why. Her mother even thought she bleached them, but she hadn't because this happened over the course of one night's sleep. The answer to what happened to her is vitiligo. This is a condition where your immune system is weak in a specific part of your body, like eyelashes, and the color drains from that area as a result. This can happen anywhere on the body. There's a famous supermodel with this condition named Winnie Harlow, and she's beautiful. Number 6, webbed toes. You might have heard of people who have webbed feet in terms of their looks, but there's another condition known as webbed toes that has a different outcome. In this case, 2 toes are literally stuck together via a genetic defect, so they're attached and they move as one. This can happen on your toes or your fingers, and it's more common than you might think, especially in the animal kingdom. But humans do get it more than people realize. Statistically, there's one baby with webbed toes in every 2,000 to 2,500 births. Number 5, hair streaks. When people want to change up their hair, it's fairly easy to go and dye it or bleach it to help obtain a new and desired look. But for some people, they have a special condition going on where their hair is its natural color, except for one big streak. I have a cousin with light brown hair, and he has a natural white streak or spot on the top of his head. The irony of this is that despite it being known to happen to more than one person, there's no specific name for it. It's known to happen when parts of the body have extra melanin, but there's no specific title for it happening, yet. Do you have a name for this? Let's hear about it in the comments. Number 4, plica fimbriata. This one is likely to gross you out because it deals with skin tags that can grow under your tongue. This is known as plica fimbriata. The tentacle-like flaps occur when the folds that go alongside the frenulum, the tissue that connects the tongue to the bottom of the mouth, have small growths or skin tags on them. To be clear, they aren't harmful to you or your tongue, but they can be annoying overall. Number 3, hypermobility. Arguably one of the most well-known kinds of unique traits in the world today, hypermobility, also known as being double-jointed, refers to the body's ability to extend beyond the normal means of reach, such as someone that can grab things with their hand in the opposite direction it should bend. This trait is more common among children, 10 to 15%, and usually decreases with age, as approximately 5% of adults have this ability. And in fact, there are multiple types of this ability that can change how a person moves or enacts certain gestures. Number 2, depressed nasal bridge. If you were to feel your nose right now, you'd immediately feel the bridge, or the hard part of your nose, that doesn't bend but can very much break. However, there are some people with a condition known as depressed nasal bridge, where the bridge of your nose either doesn't form fully or doesn't form at all. While this may seem like a rare thing, it can be found in children with cleidocranial dysplasia, children with neurodevelopment delay, achondroplasia, Conradi-Hunerman-Happel syndrome, Cornelia de Lange syndrome, osteogenesis imperfecta, and Klippel-Feil syndrome. Because of the lack of a bridge, they can truly push their nose into their face and have a unique look. Number 1, trigger finger. Despite what it may sound like, this is not a condition that has to do with a gun. Rather, it's something that has to do with the inability to bend a finger. Trigger finger happens when the tendon that lets the finger bend is too swollen for one reason or another. Because of its swollen nature, it locks up, and thus the finger, or in this case the thumb, of the person can't bend, which I imagine gets really uncomfortable. Thanks for watching. What did you think of these unique physical human traits? Which one of them shocked you the most? Let me know in the comments below. Be sure to subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Bye!